In this episode of MOCAPTV, a look at FAA tower closures and the effect on CAP. Members from across the wing tour facilities at Whiteman Air Force Base. A wing initiative to enhance recruiting and retention. These stories and more, MOCAPTV starts now.
Alright everybody, I need a go, no-go for MOCAPTV news broadcast. Audio.
Go audio.
7.
Video.
Check.
6.
Live stream.
No worries, mate.
5.
Anchor check.
4.
Where's our anchor?
3. 2. You're watching the MOCAPTV News Network. 1.
Welcome to this episode of MOCAPTV. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Brad Sanker. If you've been following social media, you have no doubt seen many of the posts regarding the continuing resolution and how it affects CAP. On Thursday of last week, the House passed the continuing resolution, which now goes to the President for signature. The legislation provides full-year funding for the Department of Defense, which includes full funding for CAP, Veterans Affairs, Commerce, Justice, Agriculture, and Homeland Security, as well as such programs as NASA and military construction. Despite the continuing resolution, the FAA still plans to close 147 control towers across the country to balance cuts caused by the sequestration. Joining us to discuss the effects of these closures is Captain Joe St. Clair from Winsville Composite Squadron. Captain St. Clair is a commercial pilot and FAA certified instructor. He is also a transport and orientation pilot for CAP and the Wing's first ASET instructor. Captain St. Clair, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
The FAA announced the closure of 149 control towers in April, including two important locations for CAP, Columbia Regional Airport and Branson. Can you briefly talk about how this could affect pilots from CAP?
It is going to have an effect on our pilots, but I wouldn't necessarily view that as all negative like the media wants to publicize. The biggest thing that's going to affect our pilot operations is that we're no longer going to have an air traffic controller. We're not going to have a ground controller to talk to at the facility. We're not going to have a clearance delivery person to talk to at that facility. We're not going to have a tower controller controlling the air traffic around the area. So those are the biggest differences. How this affects us from an operational standpoint is when we go from point A to point B on an IFR flight plan where we would land at Columbia and they would close out the flight plan for us, like in our up-and-coming flight clinic on 30 March, now when we land we have to remember to go in and cancel our flight plans so they don't send people out to look for us. The other thing that's going to affect us operating in now these facilities is with the lack of a controlling facility at those two airports where a lot of where there is some airline activity, now we're not going to have a tower calling traffic for us or providing separation between us and the heavier airplanes. So we're really going to need to make sure that we exercise a lot of vigilance and continue our safe practices of scanning and spotting aircraft.
News media portrays this as aircraft flying blind and pilots taking off and landing without assistance. Is this really a concern for our pilots, many of them who already take off and land from airports without a tower?
You are correct, sir. We do operate in and out of a lot of uncontrolled fields. So our pilots are used to going into and out of airports that don't have a controlling facility. Where our pilots are going to need to keep a big eye open for safety, if you will, is the airspace change. When we're at Branson and we're at Columbia, we have what the FAA refers to as Class D or Class Delta airspace. With those two airports or those two towers closing, now what we have is that Class D airspace transitions into Class E airspace. When we are on an IFR flight plan, the visibility might be down to 2.5, maybe 2.5 miles, say less than 3 miles. When we're talking to air traffic control and we see the airport, we can cancel. We can say, we can tell the controlling facility we have the field in sight, we need to cancel IFR. What we need to make sure that we do now is when we are flying in those conditions under an instrument flight plan, that we don't cancel until we are on the ground, and we make sure we have 3 miles visibility or greater. On a VFR, from a VFR standpoint, where we could go out and take off from an airport to pick up our IFR clearance. Now, if we don't have those cloud clearance requirements or those VFR the forward visibility requirements of 3 miles, we can't do it. We got to stay on the ground. So it does change our operational procedures a little bit, but as long as we keep our head on a swivel and we're looking for traffic and making sure that we're adhering to those FARs, operating in and out of these two facilities shouldn't affect us much. We just need to make sure we keep those things in focus when we're operating.
As a commercial pilot and instructor, what advice can you give fellow aviators as we deal with this challenge over the remainder of the year and possibly into the next fiscal year?
The advice I would give would be to just be patient. Be safe and be patient. Don't be in a hurry to cancel your IFR flight plan. If you're flying somewhere on a flight plan, land, turn off the runway, pick up the phone and call the controlling facility or the local frequency on at that airport to cancel your flight plan. That's going to ensure that your airspace is protected. It's not going to let another airplane come in behind you and clobber you. For example, if you're going into Branson, if you cancel because you have the airport in sight, that frees up the airspace, and now the Southwest 737 or the Frontier Airbus can come in and have access to that airspace that was just protected for you. So don't get in a hurry to cancel, and keep your eyes open because it could get kind of scary in some of those places.
Captain Sinclair, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Oh, thank you for having me, Colonel Sanker. I really appreciate it.
Missouri Wing is working on several projects to help units with day-to-day operations, plan weekly meetings, and develop recruiting and retention. Several units were invited to participate in a web discussion for recruiting. The discussion will be part of a video segment scheduled to be released in April, outlining tips for recruiting and retention. Here is a short portion of that discussion with Captain Kelly Deeds as he explains how his unit participates with recruiting and retention.
Recruiting is basically twofold. It's member driven. In other words, one cadet brings a friend who joins and goes from there. That's been the major part of the recruiting here, is the word of mouth recruiting, and that's brought a lot of people in. Those are also the easiest to retain members because they have a natural draw to it. When a cadet or a potential cadet comes in the first night and he sees them doing drill or doing this, sometimes that might scare him off a little bit. But if he has that friend that's already there doing it, it's been there on a regular basis, it really helps out. So if I was out there right now, I would say, ask the cadets to refer a friend type program. And those are very easy to retain too.
A challenge that members often encounter is trying to figure out how to put together the ribbons in the correct order. In today's Tech Tip, Cadet Staff Sergeant Clayton Sanker demonstrates a website that provides the solution for this problem.
In today's Tech Tip, I'm going to show you how to put together your ribbons using a ribbon rack builder provided by McCord Composite Squadron and Washington Wing. First, it will give you an option to choose either cadet ribbons or senior member ribbons. We are going to choose cadet. Here, as you can see, we have all your ribbons from activity and participation awards to your decorations. Now, as you can see here, we have a drop box for every level of award or ribbon. Here we have your service awards. We will now choose our cadet program awards and achievements. And here are your decorations. Now when you are done, simply press Generate Graphic. Here is your ribbon rack. For today's tech tip, I'm Cadet Staff Sergeant Clayton Sanker.
Members from across Missouri Wing toured Whiteman Air Force Base on 27 March. The tour, coordinated through the State Director's Office at Wing Headquarters and the 509th Bomb Wing Public Affairs Office, allowed members to get up close and personal with the aircraft assigned at Whiteman. Whiteman is home to the B-2 bomber, T-38 trainers, A-10s, and Apache helicopters.
Cadet Smith, what did you think of your tour of Whiteman Air Force Base today with Civil Air Patrol?
It was really cool.
Really cool. Would you recommend it next time for those who didn't come?
Yes.
So what did you get to see?
We got to see the Oscar 1 site, which was really cool.
So what was your favorite part, Cadet Miller?
My favorite part was originally the UAV and the Predators, but then when I saw the B-2s, that just blew it out of the water.
Well, it was a lot better than I expected.
Really? Why?
I don't know. I didn't expect it to be this good.
Okay, there you go. Cadet Savader, what did you think?
I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was amazing, sir.
Outstanding. Cadet Sutter, what did you think of today?
The B2 was pretty cool. I like the missile silos the most.
Did you? Why'd you like the missile silo the most?
The tour guide.
Oh yeah, Sergeant Bussey was pretty cool, wasn't he?
He was awesome.
Yeah. Cadet Skinner, what'd you think?
It was pretty fun. I enjoyed the part when you guys were in the B2s. I got to go and see how they worked and watch them work. And the people who make the videos, the video office.
Oh, very cool. So you got to go do the public fair stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's pretty cool. Cadet Ramonko, what did you think?
Well, I had a really good time.
I say the name correct.
Oh, yes, you did.
Okay, thank you very much.
I had a really good time. I don't know. I liked the missile silos a lot, and the drones were really cool, and so was the B-2. It was all real fun. And really, it was better than I expected. I didn't think there'd be that much cool stuff to do.
I thought it was a great opportunity for the cadets to see different areas that are involved with the Air Force, not just I'm a pilot or whatever. You got to see the drones, the B-2, just a lot of different areas, and even some history with the Minuteman silos. So I was very impressed. I got to see some history stuff, as well as I think it opened up a lot of doors and windows that the cadets could see a lot of interesting things for them.
I would agree completely. Definitely put a little bit different spin on what you can do in the military, not just one thing.
Exactly.
It's multifaceted. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
The Wing receives a lot of great photos of members in action. Here's a look at some of those photos from around the Wing.
This week around the Wing. Cadet Cindy Puckett from Pony Express Composite Squadron tries on a parachute simulation helmet at Rosecrans Air Base in St. Joseph. Captain Quay Kendrick from Springfield Regional Composite Squadron refuels a CAP airplane following flight line marshalling training in Springfield. Cadets from Group 1 enjoy an ice hockey game with Missouri Mavericks mascot Mac during a recruiting event in Independence. Cadet Devin DeClerc from Fort Leonard Wood Composite Squadron practices signaling with a mirror during ground team skills training. For Around the Wing, I am Captain Mike Cooper.
Units around the Wing have a lot of great activities scheduled throughout the upcoming months. Calendar events are posted on the Wing website with information for participation. Here's a look at the activities for April. On 6 to 7 April, Group 3 is hosting a CLC and TLC in Sedalia, Missouri. Join us at the state capitol for Aviation Day on April 9th. This quarter's Commander's Call is on April 20th in Jefferson City. For more information on all these events, visit the Missouri Wing website. Thank you for joining us on this episode of MOCAP TV. From all of us at MOCAP TV, thanks for watching.